Hello everybody, welcome back to the Reviewing Your Pokemon series, and in this episode, we are going over this Grubbin that was sent in by Surmage. Now, Surmage has a little quick question here. I'm trying to decide whether to invest in my AAC Grubbin or Ivysaur for honey. The Grubbin would obviously be more of a long-term goal, but in the meantime it produces more coffee than my current AAA Vikavolt farmer. So the idea would be to invest heavily in the AAC and kind of forget about the AAA temporarily until the AAC hits 60. The honey and coffee combo seems very valuable to me for both curry and dessert weeks, and if I'm missing coffee, I'll have my other Vika to help supplement it. So, my question is basically whether this seems like a good idea, or if my shiny mono Ivysaur would be a better investment. Long term, the Ivy also serves as a Sunday night Dream Shard gatherer, interestingly enough. Thanks. Well, Sir Mage, thanks for sending these Pokemon in. It's very interesting. To start it off, I would say personally, I'd probably be investing the shiny Ivysaur, but not because it's the best option necessarily, just because it's shiny and I like shinies, and it's definitely usable. But that's more just a personal thing with shinies. As to what's the most optimal choice, that's a different discussion. So, for the sake of this comparison, like you said, there is some good synergy. Clodsire Eclairs especially, currently the strongest meal in the game, does take honey and coffee, so having that synergy can be very useful. I think a lot of players write off the AAC list on the Vikavolt. It also can be kind of nice because you have a nice backup meal in this early bird coffee jelly, especially because if you're making Clodsire Eclairs, you literally all three ingredients here are being also produced, but in smaller quantities for the early bird coffee jelly. So I think that AAC Vikavolt is interesting in the fact that it covers two of those ingredients. But the biggest reason why to write it off is just because of how much of a long-term invest it is. Because it takes until level 60 until it gets that honey synergy. Now, as for which would be better, technically speaking, the Venusaur does produce more honey, even at level 60. But you can see here, and I've configured it so that helping bonus is helping stack 0. The AAC Vikavolt here does actually produce 75 honey compared to 98 on the Venusaur, which is, the 98 is better. But as for the current field of the game, with not taking into account potential future meals that haven't been added yet, there are no meals that take more than 22 honey in a single meal, which means you really only need 66 honey in a day. So, in my opinion, with the current way things stand, making 75 honey in a day, while also producing 47 coffee on the side, is strictly better than producing 98 honey a day, because you just don't necessarily need that. You can be swapping around the team if you're good at managing your energy, that maybe you could get a berry finder in there more often, but I think having this nice synergy is a decent idea. Now, being an AAC list, that honey is going to be a bit more unreliable. I've talked about how RNG makes an impact on ingredient farmers, and typically speaking, the less of an instance of an ingredient in that Pokemon's list, the more often you may be subject to bad RNG, so I'd say make sure you have more of a buffer in your bag if you do invest in an AAC Vikavolt. A bigger buffer of honey just to account for bad RNG days. I'll link the video talking about RNG in the description here, in case you want to go check that out, as well as Iben Brown's. He was the one that made the tool that I used for that. I'll link that as well. But overall, 47 coffee, 75 honey a day. You'll be set for honey. You'll be set as far as honey goes. Coffee, you'll be a little bit shy. Now, like you said, prior to level 60, at like level 50, it does outproduce your mono option. But long term, obviously, the mono option does eventually come in at about 84, which does produce... It doesn't quite produce enough coffee, even as an AAA option. Just telling you to be looking at 84 is what you'd want for the Defiant Coffee Dress Salad, but this is just ever so slightly shy. But if you even have one help bonus stack, aside from what's on the Vikavolt itself, it easily overcomes that. So, realistically, this Vikavolt is better for Defiant Coffee Dress Salad, and you may... And split investment is always a question as well. Getting them to level 60 might be kind of difficult if you're investing two of them, but I can see where, like you said, put this one on hold until you get this one to level 60 and then level it up further. The Venusaur probably is... If you're looking for just honey, then it is the best option, objectively. Just because it's not going to take you all the way to level 60 to get it. If nothing else, I'd say maybe temp invest the Venusaur or the Ivysaur to level 30, evolve it, because even at level 30, it's going to produce a decent amount. I didn't run it at that level, but let's see. It still produces 74, which is beyond that 66 needed, so I don't think investing the Venusaur is a bad idea. Getting it to level 30 for that just honey now can be a decent option while you're waiting to get this guy to level 60, because it's going to take a long time to get to level 60, especially since you've already put so many candies into this Vikavolt. I assume that you don't necessarily have a lot stockpiled up to be able to just power level this guy straight to level 60. So it's going to be a while before you get that honey unlock that opens up its true potential on the AAC Vikavolt list. So I always like considering things like this. A lot of people kind of write this off. Something else to note is that the AAC has a helping bonus, which isn't offered on the mono. Now, helping bonus arguably has less value on ingredient specialists if you're following the idea of rotating them. So, especially with this one being a mono, you probably wouldn't want to keep it on the team all that long. So it's all right if it doesn't necessarily have helping bonus, but I like the helping bonus on these guys as well. In fact, if this one didn't have helping bonus, I would say just invest this one and find something else for coffee, maybe. Well, you'd probably still be investing in this one for coffee, because it is a good coffee farmer. But either way, I also want to make the comparison at level 100. At level 100, because it does get helping speed S at level 100, that's sub-skill seedable. And I was like, you know what? If you full invested it that long, what would it look like? Just for curiosity's sake. And it produces over 100 honey a day. Which I don't know what sort of meals they'll be releasing from between now and then, because level 100 is years in the future. This really isn't a consideration for your investments. This is more just like an interesting, let's take a look at what it is. And 64 coffee a day. It still doesn't necessarily produce enough for the Defiant Coffee Dress Salad, but supplemented, it should do fine. So, ultimately, I think they're all decent investments. I wouldn't really take the Venusaur past level 30. Maybe I would take it to level 60 if I wanted more honey one day, if there's something else. I would definitely never trash it, especially since it's shiny. But I don't think there's any problem with putting this Vikavolt on hold until you get this one to level 60 and actually need what this one can offer in terms of coffee production. So, if you have enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Down in the description, we'll have a link to the Google form to send in if you want your Pokemon reviewed just like this video. You can also submit via the YouTube My Mons channel and the Discord, which link will also be in the description. Recently, I've added a join button. Feel free to click it if you're financially able to do so and want to support me in that way. And as always, I thank you all for watching and hope that you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.